This is my first show at TheaterWorks, which I'm super stoked about. I also was an intern over their summer camp programs, and I taught kids about theater, at least from what I know, because I'm still learning, and that's pretty much a guaranteed fact. Well, I was looking at shows and TheaterWorks in general. Like, I auditioned for Gypsy, but musicals aren't really my thing. And Paul reached out to me. He's like, hey, you should come audition for my show. I was like, okay, yeah, why not? And I read the script, and then I was like, wow. I've never personally read the Little Prince book. I'm actually reading it right now as I'm doing the production, which is really cool. It's just amazing. The fact that it's a children's book and it has so many ideas and themes and all those things that relate so much to the adult life, which I'm kind of acquainted with. Granted, I'm 19, I know I'm still young and all those things, but it's really relatable, which is really cool. It's like me in the sense that he's really insecure. And I'm insecure to some degrees, and I think everyone is. But it's one of those things that, so he's really insecure about his art, which I've kind of noticed. It was like something he did as a kid, and I don't think he really got the approval or the praise that he wanted or needed, and so he was always kind of insecure about his drawings. He's like, I don't know how they're really good or anything like that, and I can relate to the sense where I have insecurities that I'm like, well, I always, I want praise or I want something along those lines, and so I'm relatable in the fact like that. And then there's these it's a lost innocence with the character of the Aviator. He doesn't have his youth. I don't think he really got what he needed when he was a kid.
Please, I have to know. You have to tell me. It's very important. I have to know. If she bit little bushes, does he eat flowers too? Please, will it eat my flower?
Yeah, she will eat anything.
Even flowers that have thorns?
Even flowers that have thorns.
Then why do they have them?
Come in, Tangiers, Morocco, Cairo, anybody! Look, flowers have thorns just for spite.
I don't believe you. Flowers are nice creatures. They would never act out of spite. And if they hurt you, it's because they don't understand. And you actually believe that the flowers...
Look, I don't believe anything. I just said the first thing that came into my head. Can't you see I'm busy with important things?
Important things? You talk just like the grown-ups.
The grown-ups? I'm not.
You mix everything up together. You confuse everything. You mix everything up together. I don't believe you can ever become an artist.
An artist? Being an artist is not going to get me out of here. Okay, this is a matter of life and death. Don't you understand? Do you know how much time I've wasted with pictures of your silly stories?
You are like the businessman.
Businessman, wait.
He has never smelled a flower. He has never looked at a star. He has never loved anyone. And all day he says over and over, just like you, I'm busy with important things. But he's not a man, he's a mushroom.
And so, The Little Prince, it's kind of a beautiful story in the sense that he kind of regains his innocence and his youth, which is incredible. Even though he's kind of hallucinating and all of these stories and everything is in his head. And so, it's really remarkable the fact that he finds his way and he survives. I mean, his plane crashes in the desert and he's stranded and he almost dies multiple times throughout the show. But it's just incredible the fact that this little prince comes along. He's like, well, who the heck is this? He can't mean anything to me. But then they just kind of grow this relationship. And it's a beautiful story of how, I found myself in a way. I found my peace. And I think that's kind of what it's about with him. And I haven't found my peace yet. Hopefully eventually in life I will. I know I'm still young. But I'd love to relate to him in the sense that eventually I can find my peace too. Definitely putting my mindset in his situation, I think, is really difficult. Because, granted, I've never driven a plane, or flown a plane, I should say, or been stranded in the desert. I know we live in one, but it's really hard to think of all the situations that he's in. Because he's running out of water, there's food, his plane's not working. How's he going to fix it? It's all of these things that I think, no matter what your age is, and this is a crisis, so. It's hard to put yourself into that kind of world, but you have to do your research and all those other things and kind of really put yourself in the mindset. And, thank goodness he has the Little Prince, or at least some company, because it can be really lonely. And so I think he kind of finds his way through his crisis with the help of the Little Prince, because I think if the Little Prince wasn't around, he would have died, surely. Like, he would not have made it out of the situation he was in. Even though it may have been a hallucination, it was like his mind helping him regain what he had lost and getting him through that crisis, which I think is really cool. My first favorite moment for sure is not when so there's a scene where it's really an internal struggle for me because my plane's still not working. I'm running out of water, and here comes the little prince, and he's concerned about his flower. Oh, it's ephemeral. It's gonna die. This is really scary to me. But I'm completely ignoring him and just going about because I'm gonna die, and I'm having my internal crisis. And the fact that he comes along and I blow up on him, and it's horrible. It's an adult blowing up on a child. Like, that's inexcusable. It's an awful thing. So, but it's the scene after that really I love, because I come up to him, I find him in the desert after he's run off, and I just kind of sit there for a moment. I think about what I'm going to say. For me, it's one of the most real moments in the show, because it's my apology to him. And it's not this straightforward kind of apology, as he's kind of like, I could recite some of the dialogue. I don't know if you want me to, but I'll just go for it anyway. He's like, so let's say the little prince is next to me. So far away from home, it's good to have someone to watch the sunset with. And of course, he ignores me because he's still upset, and I have to think, and I say, once I saw a beautiful house made of rosy-colored bricks with geraniums in the windows and doves on the roof. And I thought of telling someone about it, but I knew from that description they would never be able to appreciate it. Now, if on the other hand, I were to say, I saw a beautiful house that cost $1 million, they'd say, oh, what an amazing house that must be. And at this point he laughs, and we kind of connect there, because that was my apology. Because it doesn't matter how many times I say it. If I say it once, it's the meaning in the message in there. I can see a beautiful house, but they, whatever, they won't understand it. Now, if other people come around and be like, wow, that was an amazing apology, it's like, oh yeah, it was a great apology. It's more relatable in that sense. But he opens up, and then my true apology comes, and I'm kind of like, you see, I realized last night that I've become like those people. So sometimes when you talk to me about things, I can't quite appreciate how important they are to you. I can't see sheep through the walls of boxes anymore. And that's a reflection on his own. He's lost his ability, his childlike imagination that the little prince has. He's the counterpart to the Aviator. They're one. And I think if I get anything across in the show, that has to be the number one right there, is that we're the same person.